Good evening. Got a new project in the shop here today. Actually, the fella that owned the Dodge Ram 3500 is in the market for a inexpensive snowblower, and I picked this up for, well, you could say inexpensively. I believe it's a 1990 model MTD SnowFlite, 5 horsepower Tecumseh, 20-inch clearing path. Couple of issues. It runs, but not great. This carburetor, I don't know. The linkage, basically when the linkage is hooked up, it seems too tall and it'll actually get jammed at full throttle. So it may not be the right carburetor. And the wheels are, like, those are off of like a dolly. They're flat. And they've been, I don't know if you can see, they're kind of welded together things. So while they work, I don't know how much grip they'll have, or you know, in terms of longevity, they may not be that great, so we may have to do something there. But ultimately the goal is to do this pretty inexpensively, because he doesn't need a lot of snowblowers. So first thing, I'm going to pull that carburetor off and see if I can figure out what we're up against there.
Broken roads, desert dust bowl sun, where the billman will call you almost every week. Which bills to pay today and what's left in the fridge to eat.
640084 carbs I've seen have an elbow for the fuel inlet, and like this just seems too tall above the body here. I just don't think it's necessarily the right carburetor, so that's going to take some research. It should have some adjusters on the bottom and a drain built in as well, which this one doesn't. There's no numbers on here to say what it is, but I think I'm going to be ordering a carburetor up for this. Further evidence that this is not the right carburetor: our throttle linkage, our choke rather, bolts to here, and this in no way, shape, or form will work with this choke lever. It should be over here. So I'm gonna go shopping. I want to drop the oil out of this because I don't know how old it is. This pipe fitting extension here wants to come out of the block when I try and loosen the cap, so I'm going to enlist this 1930s vintage pipe wrench here. It's A.B. Jardine and Co., which I think, let's see, in Hespeler, Ontario. I believe they became, oh yeah, says rigid right there, so I guess they became rigid. Picked it up some time ago at a yard sale, I think. I just couldn't say no to it. There we go. Might as well tighten this fitting some while we're here. There we go. Well, we'll just let that drain for a while. I wasn't able to get SAE 30 oil today, so I'm just going to run 530 in it. I've got some kicking around synthetic. Being that it's a snowblower, that'll be just fine. Yep.
we play the waiting game. No, the waiting game sucks. Let's play Hungry Hungry Hippos.
I was able to get my hands on one thing today at Canadian Tire, at least. A new spark plug. This takes a Champion RJ17LM. It has a, oh good, one of them laser plugs with a loose end on it. Be much happier to put an NGK BR4LM in there, which is the NGK equivalent of the RJ17. Have a quick peek at the gap here. 25, that should be just about perfect. There we go. Happy times. Thing with small engines is when you're filling them, it's like they need way more, they need way more, they need way more. It's making a puddle. There's kind of no in between. There, good to go. Well, I dare say that's about as far as we can go on the old SnowFlite today, short of pulling these tires off, but I might just wait until I have the new ones, because at least I can air these ones up and test it out before they come in. So yeah, carburetor tomorrow, and then it's just buttoning a few things up. There's a lot of panels off of this thing and a lot of missing hardware, so that's going to take a bit of time to sort out, but basically it's coming along quite nicely, and I've already spoken to my buddy, and he's pretty interested in taking this thing off my hands, as long as it works good, of course. So we'll see how that goes.
Stars frame the night, on out a train, just close enough to give hope, but too far to reach. I left there with that hope on fire, the backseat for a bed.
All right, carburetor's on. We just have to reroute the fuel line, which means that this cover has to come off.
Down in that Dust Bowl Valley, with that Dust Bowl Valley sun, I'm going back to the place I ran from, where the earth and the men been hardened by life in the sun. Like my old man, he's 63. Still swings a hammer, still tougher than me. What about my mother? Well, the last I heard, she was strung out on Demerol and some of those neighbors.
There we can see the new fuel shut off in place, fuel filter. The line is routed correctly in behind and up to the carburetor. So yeah, just need to put this cover back on and then get the starter all secured and everything, and that part of the business will be done. I did not change the primer button. The old primer is working well, but I am putting a new line on it. So just about got this ready to fire up. Morning, back on the Tecumseh SnowFlite project. I've got the recoil housing mostly back on. I gotta remember to tighten those bolts, but since we had some head bolts off, I'm gonna torque those up properly. 200 inch-pounds. Couldn't really find a sequence for it, but it's kind of straightforward anyway. There's only 8 of them. I loosened off the other ones just because I had, well, 5 of them loose, so I might as well torque them all up at once. Here we go. Check. Good, good. Good. Cleaned all that all that rust off those bolts. They were pretty nasty. Go. Now, let's reattach that starter. Where's my bolts? There we are. 1, 2. The other one's still in there. Okay.
I miss my good friend. Look how far we come. Oh, settling down now. I guess we're worn out from the run. Down in that Dust Bowl Valley. Lift that Dust Bowl Valley, son.
All right. There's one challenge before we can run this thing, and that is the missing governor link. They're not very expensive. I can order one, but really it's just a bit of, steel wire. And I think I can make one. I found a good picture, and from that I can extrapolate the length, make our own.
They're still playing Haggard's working man song, and I'm coming full circle, trying to make my peace with my past and the ghost that still